Whether you are recovering from anxiety with the help of a therapist or using channels like mine for a self-help approach, you will make mistakes that will set you back and may even make you give up. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to avoid making 10 common mistakes when recovering from anxiety. The first common mistake is unrealistic expectations. Naturally, everyone wants their anxiety gone quickly, but recovery from anxiety is a slow and difficult process that has to be done methodically. And it's important to realise it's not what a therapist does or a video tells you to do, it's what you do that will determine how well you recover. Which leads to mistake 2, not changing anything. If you carry on doing what you've always done, you will always get the same results. To recover from anxiety, you have to change your behaviours and challenge your thoughts and beliefs. If you are still employing all your avoidance and safety behaviours, then there will be no change in your anxiety. If you don't know what safety behaviours are, see my video on that subject. A common problem in the early phases of recovery is being distracted by quick fix solutions. Your anxious mind will not want to do the difficult things required to retrain it, so it will look for easier options. Put some reminders around the house or on your phone to help you stay focused. Mistake 4 is a lack of consistency. When they start therapy or self-help, many people are full of enthusiasm. They may do some thought challenging, maybe some behavioural experiments, or some desensitization. But within a few weeks, the old habits creep back in, and they stop using all the good stuff that they have learnt. If you don't have a therapist to keep you consistent, set a plan of what you're going to do each week and put a reminder on your phone. Five is desensitizing at the wrong speed. Desensitization, also called exposure therapy, is an important part of anxiety recovery. If you go too fast, you will overwhelm your anxious brain and give up. If you go too slow, your progress will be slow, and you may lose motivation and give up. So, what is the right speed? It varies between people, but as a general rule, you should be doing something that makes you feel mildly uncomfortable once or twice a week. 6 is not using a pen or a keyboard. Whether you are challenging thoughts or doing behavioural experiments, writing it down reinforces it in your mind. In behavioural experiments, the reflection part is as important as the experiment itself, so make sure to fill in your behavioural experiment record afterwards. You will find videos on how to do behavioural experiments in my playlists. By the way, if you recognise any of these, let me know in the comments below. If not, keep watching, because I'm sure you'll recognise the next 2. Mistake 7 is learning from others with anxiety. If you're learning from someone who has overcome their anxiety, then great. But many people seek advice about their anxiety on social media anxiety groups. And most of the people in these groups are suffering with really bad anxiety. And though they mean well, often the advice they are giving will actually make your anxiety worse if you follow it. And a common piece of advice coming from these forums is to distract yourself. While distraction techniques may give you some short-term relief, long-term it makes things worse. To learn more about the problems with distraction, see my video linked above. So instead of trying to distract yourself, it's better to accept the anxiety and let it pass, which it will if you don't try to fight it, avoid it, or distract from it. Mistake 9 is not measuring progress. Recovery from anxiety happens very gradually, so you may not notice it. So record your anxiety level once a week. Do it when you feel less anxious, as it will allow you to look back over the week objectively and rate how high your anxiety has been over the week rather than at the moment that you record it. Also, look back at some of the documents that you've created over the months. For example, seeing how far you have made it up your desensitization list will motivate you to carry on. Looking back at old thought records and realising that you hardly ever get that thought anymore will also give you a boost. Before we get to the final and most destructive mistake, I would really appreciate it if you would give me a like, as it helps my video reach others. 10 is the most destructive mistake of all, self-medicating. If you're using drugs or alcohol to deal with your anxiety, your chances of recovery are slim. Drugs and alcohol send your serotonin and dopamine levels all over the place, which will make recovery 100 times harder. If you have an addiction, it's important to deal with that first, before you start working on the anxiety. And it's best to seek help from an addiction specialist. If you can minimize these mistakes and stay on course, you can make a huge difference to your anxiety. And if there's something you don't understand about how anxiety works, you can probably find the answer in one of my many videos. If you suffer from health anxiety, you will find this playlist useful. And if you suffer panic attacks, take a look at this playlist. If you can't find the answer, ask in the comments below, and maybe I will make a video on this subject in the future.